Our guests for this episode are busting all the lies and myths you've ever heard about starting or running a business.
Profit is very important, but if the only reason you run a business is profit, then you can close very fast.
I do not wake up every day and say, I'm paying rent, so I send the owner of the premises money.
And that state umeangukia pesa useme, let me shock my landlord.
No, you will shock yourself.
Purity K. Wakahiu. The K is for Kemodo, has a background in accounting, but she also holds a master's degree in business administration from the University of Nairobi. And without trivializing the need for education, she makes a very good case of why, when it comes to learning, experience is superior to academics.
Why is it that a class 8 dropout is able to run a business, succeed, and someone with a master's degree like myself is struggling?
Joram Ndung'u quit his job in the finance sector at CEO level. And when you listen to Joram talk, he makes you understand, he makes you appreciate the money-making process, and he makes it very easy to learn from the mistakes he has made and possibly replicate his success.
You know, you have to make a conscious decision that you are not out to please anyone. Because if you are, then you will stick there so that your friends say, hey, Joram is still doing very well. And that time, privately, you are in tears.
Now, both our guests quit their jobs to go into business, and they're willing to share with us a blow-by-blow account on how you transition, or how you can transition from employment to entrepreneurship.
First of all, immediately you are employed, day one, you must start planning for your exit. From day one.
Coming from the corporate, the idea for everyone is to do a big office, have a big table, so that you are not downgrading yourself. But you know, those big things are overheads, and they'll bring you down.
It is very easy, and you know it's not hard to work for 20 years and live and wonder, what was I doing for all these 20? Where did the money go? You're wondering where the money went.
Alafu, just in case you like my outfits in this production, and not only this production, all the productions umeona, anything I wear from head to toe, please allow me to plug you to Z-Max Enterprises. Iko pale I&M Pioneer Building. Hapo tu kwa kona, Z-Max Styles. Ukifika hapo, ask for Shifra, uliza Kate, uliza Beryl, ama uliza Kezia. They will give you good vibes. Kitu yote umeona, kitu yote umependa, they will supply. Kitu yote, look yote hata unaweza take from Pinterest, they will give you high quality outfits. Alafu, I have to tell you about their after sales services. Ukisha buy nguo kutoka kwao, they are open for consultation. Wanaweza kusaidia ku mix and match nini. You are just, by the way, nothing to do with the show. Just plug it. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori, and here's another reason to stay subscribed to our channel. Kama hauja subscribe, now's a good time to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell. Purity, kuna kitu tulisema ya, there are two types of business people. There are two reasons people start a business. One, people who start a business because they have money, and people who start a business because they are looking for money. What's the difference? Now, which one was you?
Have you seen someone say, niko na milioni moja, what business can I do?
Yes.
Those are the people who start businesses because they have money. People who start business to make money, it's someone who is looking for another a source of income.
Yes.
Or they're either leaving employment, or they have been looking for a job for a while, or they just finished school and now they need something to do.
Yes.
So they need to make money. So it's like the way you look for a job. So that's what you mean by you're starting a business to make money.
Umeanzia juu sana. Most people are here talk about ni biashara gani you can start na 10K. Umeanzia na million. Nimeanza kupata idea, but you've explained it very well.
Yeah.
Joram, what type of a businessman were you? How did you enter into business? When ule wa mazee niko na 1 million, nataka kuanzisha biashara gani? Ama you knew what you were getting into? Ama you started from scratch?
No, for me, I would say it was a chance, in the sense I was buying a car for my wife.
Yes.
So when we bought this car, then I decided, why don't I put it for sale and put a sticker at the back?
You were buying the car?
Yes.
Then you decided to sell it?
Then I decided, why don't I try selling it, see if I can make something. And then within 2 weeks, I sold the car. Then I said, this is something I would want to keep doing.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I took the money proud back.
Yes.
And those days, there were not many showrooms. So you would be the showroom driving along the roads with your number at the back. So customers would call you and you'd say, where are you? I can bring the car you see.
Yes.
Then that's the way I began. So build slowly, slowly.
Okay.
Yes.
So did you surprise your wife first? Ama this is an idea ilikupata ukitoka kwa showroom?
No, we had agreed we buy a car for her because I had one which I was driving.
Yes.
So we needed to buy because we were going to work different directions. So when the car came, we agreed together, why don't we try and sell, see if we can make some money. So within the 2 weeks, some money came. So who didn't want to continue doing it? So then we agreed she takes a loan for the business so that we could be able to add another car.
Yes.
And that's the way we began.
Pole pole. Selling one car at a time.
Yes.
Na sahi nimekuambia, you started with one car na sasa umejaza. This is actually a practical story. Okay. So Purity, before we get to the details, both of you have transitioned from employment into business, right?
Yeah.
What's the strategy to quit your job, kwanza? Do you want a business?
That strategy maybe does not exist, but in Aringana, why you're living? Like personally, I didn't leave to go do business, but I left so that I could go take care of my firstborn child. I felt I had very little time for him, so I decided I have to leave. But I did not just leave. I mean, it took me a while because first my husband told me, no, you can't just leave like that. And I was also when I think about it, I was really young because I think I was 28. So the first time I told him I want to quit employment to first raise this child, he told me, no, you can't do that. And so it took me another 1 year waiting to leave work.
Yeah.
So as I was waiting, I started thinking, what if I actually started applying for other jobs that I thought would be easier and give me more time, but I didn't actually get. Go for an interview, someone is asking, why are you leaving that good company? And actually you have no reason. So I started selling earrings, by the way, earrings and handbags. And I had told myself, if I can get the money I get where I work and work only 4 hours, then I'm ready to quit. So when I was still employed, I started my side, the few hours, you know, my off day, the little time either before work or after, I would spend just a few hours selling jewelry. And when I discovered I can actually sell, you know, especially when you have an accounting background like myself, we are used to sitting behind computers. Selling is not automatic for you.
Yes.
So it was not easy for me to just quit and go selling stuff. So I trained myself to sell by selling things that I had never imagined I would sell. Okay. So for me, leaving work was not, I did business to help me leave employment because I needed to still have an income. But of course, we reached an agreement with my husband that now I can actually leave because he also thought it was not, I was not giving motherhood justice. Okay. So sometimes the transition is not as automatic as possible. Maybe if you have worked for a long time, you have planned, you have finances, that is possible. But for a young person, if you're below 30, I mean, you're still very young to leave an employment. So sometimes not really a strategy. It's more of why are you even living in the first place. Maybe you have a bad boss. Maybe the work is too much, not really too much. It's not allowing you to do any other thing. So the strategy for me, I would say, it really depends on what is pushing you, what is pressing you. There's someone who is leaving because it is no longer sustainable to work. Maybe it's affecting your health. Maybe the stress levels are high. Or maybe you're not even earning enough. There are many reasons. But whatever the reason, you don't really need a very complex strategy. You just need to do what you have to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm coming back to you kwa hiyo story earning enough because kuna kitu kwa book yako inasema you earn the amount of money you deserve.
Exactly.
But Joram, can I guess here? I'm guessing wewe vile uliuza gari ya kwanza, ukashikanisha ya pili, reinvesting the money.
Yes.
From employment, you must have called your boss. I want to know how you quit. Like ulifika mahali ukamwambia kesho sikama?
No, it was actually a process.
Or you quit gradually?
Yeah, because I wanted to quit in 2016.
Yes.
No, 2014. But then I had a very bad and demanding boss that time. So my thinking was that is the best time to quit. And I'd actually prepared and I knew what I needed to come and do. But then this offer comes, which has more perks. And then you say, let me postpone the quitting. But of course, as you postpone the quitting, you start doing other things that tie you. So you get tired and your time to leave stretches ahead. And that happened for me. So when I got this new offer, which I went into for the next 4 years, and you see 4 years is a long time, so you think you are prepared, but you've also got entangled in other commitments that have disrupted your preparation.
Yes.
So for me to quit, I had actually thought I would not come to do cars, as much as I had done cars for a very long time. And for me, the question was, if I supply, for example, purity, because I was doing supplies that time to showrooms.
Yes.
If I supply purity, what will I be doing my 8 to 5? So I needed to do something that would keep me occupied 8 to 5, which I had not thought that time it was a showroom. My thinking was I needed to do something else. So I invested in production. And I went straight to nail production, bought machines, bought a lorry, sunk a few millions.
And
then halfway I realized this thing will not work. So the question was, do I continue investing so that it can work? Or do I decide that I must quit and do what I used to do?
Why did you decide to invest in nails?
My thinking was I needed something that I would do. You see, if you're selling cars and you are a supplier, you supply, for example, Urban Drive. What do you do with the rest of the time? Because you can't go to Urban Drive and sit there at their reception waiting for them to sell your car.
Yes.
So my thinking was that I needed something to do that would occupy my time. And especially, you are quitting employment when you're at a very busy position. So you know what to do with your time when you go to work. Now you are coming out here and maybe your time is not well arranged. So you need to factor in that. And that for me caused me to go to something else, which didn't work at that point in time.
And being having a background in finance, you hadn't done like market research, and there's also something Purity says about her book, ati kitu kama business strategy, hizo zote ni nonsense. They are good to have, but hazisaidiangi. You didn't do hizo research.
No, you do them. Business. You do them, you even get analysis, break-even point, and you have them on Excel sheet. But when you come on the ground, things are very different. For example, the guy who I was talking to would tell me, once you drive off from the factory with your nails, what you come back with is money. The reality is when you drive off from the factory with your lorry, you start spending. And you are spending on the margin you have already calculated. Because there are many other costs that nobody tells you when you start now, where the things start running. There are many other things you see. And you had not factored them in your business analysis or even in your research. Again, mostly the people you research to or from are not necessarily the owners because they will not tell you the truth. So you talk to the marketing manager or to the guys who do the sales, and the information they give you is what they do, not the entire value chain. So when you get in, you discover the entire value chain is not what you were told.
So ulikuwa na misumali ya pesa ngapi?
We did about some 10 tons.
10 tons of nails?
Yes. So once you've made you buy the wire, the 10 tons, you now come and make the nails and you hit the market.
But then on the ground.
Yes. And to move the 10 tons, you possibly it takes 6 months. In the 6 months, what are you doing? You are a new entrant. But you see, when you are doing your research, you are told 10 tons, 2 weeks, you are done. So you start realizing here, I need to change strategy.
Tutaguzia biashara ya magari because I've bought from both of you. Very beautiful experience and I'll share that. But before tuende, please break down to us, hiyo kitu ya, you earn the amount of money you deserve. Unalipwa ile pesa unafaa kulipwa. What does that mean and how can people change that?
First of all, in Kenya, we may not have as many jobs as as the population demands. Every graduate is looking for a job. Now, if you go to the West, Europe, US, let's say Australia, there are more jobs than the people. So you find someone doing 3 jobs a day. Why are they doing that? To meet their bills. Like if you go to the US, you discover immigrants are the ones who do such kind of things. They work so many jobs. The locals are fine with 1 job. They pay their bill and they have a mortgage and all that. So why I say you earn exactly what you deserve is if you are not earning what you deserve, you must do something about it. Either you take, now in Kenya, typically we don't have extra jobs to take. Even that
something else you can do other than complain about it?
Oh yeah, there's so much you can do.
Beyond complaining?
Beyond complaining, of course. Ask yourself this, if you go to the downtown of Nairobi, let's say Tomboya downwards, how many people have degrees? Or at least how many people are running multi-million businesses, but how many people have been to have proper education the way we are privileged to have? Very few.
Yes.
And why is it that a Class A dropout is able to run a business, succeed, and someone with a master's degree like myself is struggling? It's because we overanalyze. And also, you see, your needs are the ones that drive you. You see, if you look at our children nowadays, you come with bread, they don't care. They don't think bread is important. You come with sauce, they're just there. What about our time?
Yes.
If you grew up in a village like myself, you would go even to offer other people, even when your parents don't know. You do anything to earn money to buy bread. So it's about necessity. If again you look at the generations we are raising, they're not, I don't know whether they are not motivated or what. They're just okay. They are so okay with many things. They come home, there is food. They don't even want to move out. Now, why you deserve exactly what you earn is because if you were not comfortable, I'm telling you, you will do anything. You will find people with now learned people, they have discovered money is in small businesses. You'll find someone selling smokies, someone selling boiled maize. I see another girl in Githurai selling uji power, and she's making money. She's making money. You will find a lady seated in Gikomba, and she owns several blocks of apartments. You understand?
Okay.
Because that person went all the way because they knew it's a do or do. There's no plan B, C, D. Now, the problem with the certificates we have, education certificates, is the plan B, C, D, all the way to E. First, you're wondering, what will people say? I mean, like where I was employed by my former employer, we dressed very well. Now you're living that dressing. That dressing alone is very stressful to live. Do you know that? It's not something you...
employer mgani akona uniform poa hiyo.
So uniform you need to dress up for your position. But out here, nobody cares. Out here, you wear your rubber shoes, your t-shirt and jeans and hit the road. Nobody, you know, in Nairobi, you can't tell how much someone is earning. When people come to buy cars at Urban Drive, when you look at them, you can't tell what they can afford. Someone will come buy a car worth 8 million. But when they walked in, you even thought it's someone's driver.
But I think Jesse knows. Jesse anaangalianga mtu anajua kama huyu atabuy ama hatabuy.
Maybe he has that. But anyway, the reason I say that in my book that you earn exactly what you're worth is because if you feel that you're not earning enough, then you'll have done something about it. Believe you me. We may not have enough jobs like the US or wherever, but in Kenya there are things you can do. You can boil maize and sell.
Okay.
Yeah, even in the office where you work.
Before we talk about overheads, bado tutabaki hapa kwa you earn what you deserve. I think I want to understand what the difference is between that and greed. Because my experience with Joram, Joram sold me a car. And it was, I think if he sold it to the next person that came after me, after I placed the deposit, he would have made a clean, was it 150,000, like straight up? Na nikakuuliza why you did not take the money? Ukaniambia, the age where you're at, ukishafanya hesabu yako, upange mambo yako, you're okay. Right? Na mimi nikiangalia you started selling in 2019. So huwezi sema ati ni 30 years, 40 years of experience to get that. Like, where do you draw the line? Like, how do you decide, oh, mimi niko sawa na hii, na nitakuwa sawa. Does this mean, vile Purity anasema, ulikuwa umesema, hesabu yako niyo, and you are comfortable with that? Ama, there's a difference, there's a line you draw in terms of greed and how that affects your business.
You see, one is that in business, you determine where you make your money. So that the selling is a conversation to convert what you've already accrued as the money you have made. So that you're able to close it. So if, for example, I have bought this car at price X, I determine in my books that price X plus Y is okay for me. So when you come, I will not judge by your looks and say this one can add X plus Y plus Z. I will pitch it at the price I've already, agreed with myself and with the staff who sell for me. And in that way, I will be able to ensure that the car will move quickly because the margins, the salespeople will also not seek to add something that is outrageous. And that way you are able to determine that you can do many units, small amounts over time.
Na hiyo inashika watu sana.
Yes.
Okay. So now when it comes to chenye Joram amesema, price X, you mentioned something in our previous meeting that in business, you don't, seme kama yenu ya magari, you don't make money when you're selling. You make money when you're buying. What does that mean?
You see, for example, people will come ask you, if I import or buy here, will I save? The truth is you may not save even by importing. Because you see, when you're a car dealer, every day you wake up, actually, sourcing cars is more tedious and time-consuming and expensive to you as a car dealer than selling. Selling is easy because you don't even have to sell. There are other people who can sell your cars, other showrooms, other salespeople. So for our business, it's about just waking up every morning to look for cars that you can actually be able to buy and resell. Because remember, Kenyans are knowledgeable. They can be able to go to the website and find a fielder and do the calculation. If I'm selling here at 1.6, they can get it here at 1.5. But there are very, very many other factors in our business. So it's not just about finding a car on the website and buying. So for us, what we look for is a bargain, so that these 100 you're saving the customer, you can also be able actually to sell at exactly that price. By the way, if you come to Urban Drive, you'll discover the prices you see in Japan and do calculations are almost exactly the same. The same with Joram. Because the setting is very, very different. So it's not always about saving. It's about the buying process is usually where the work is, not the selling.
Okay, and when it comes to, basi, business is in the small details.
Yes.
Hii pesa kidogo. How stingy should one be with the overheads?
Very.
Very
Stingy. Because if you see, like coming from the corporate, the idea for everyone is to do a big office, have a big table, so that you are not downgrading yourself. But you know, those big things are overheads, and they'll bring you down. They will eat into your profit, if not your capital. So for a business, you have to be very stingy with your overheads. Am I able to negotiate completely with my suppliers?
Yes. So
that the cost of internet can go down, because whether I sell or not, that cost will still be there.
As in, we are talking, by asking how stingy you're supposed to be.
Yes.
We are talking hesabu hata ya internet.
Yes. Yes.
Na unauza Prado sahi 11 million.
Yes. Even the printing paper. Because if, for example, I buy printing paper at 1,200,
yes,
and I can get it at 700, the same printing paper, why would I want to buy it at 1,200 when I can save 500?
Okay.
So I have to look at those very many small costs. Okay. At the end of the day, at the end of the month, what do they add up to? And remember, at the end of the day or at the end of the year, they go into your expenses. So if they are very huge and many, then your profit is very kidogo.
And you say something that actually complements another thing you said both in our private meeting na pia kwa book yako. Profitability. Ati a business can, okay, two things. Kuna one, you may have revenue, but you're not making profit. Alafu profitability is not measured by the month, right? Tusaidie na hii hesabu ya profitability, why it's measured long time. Alafu Joram atuambie why you can have revenue, na, as in you can have money and you don't have money. Tuanzie na profitability.
Luckily, you have finance experts here.
Do you know?
Yeah, so the truth is, in business, the most important thing, especially in the Kenyan setup, is cash flow.
Okay.
Cash flow means the money coming in need to be excess of the money going out. And that is why, when you listen, overheads are very important. So profitability, what you don't know is that we also sell cars, either at cost or at a loss.
Okay.
That's a big possibility, a reality actually, not even a possibility. So what does that mean? Will you close business because you sold a car at a loss? No, you will not. But you look at it this way, I need money now to sort other things. So you'll sell and sort the things you need to sort at that time, and then forget about profit at that time. Now, profit is very important, but if the only reason you learn a business is profit, then you can close very fast. Because even the way an economy is cyclic, you know, a normal economic cycle is 4 to 6 years. So you'll find Kenyans complaining, all things are very bad, but it's just a normal economic cycle. Now, the same with business. Business is not that every day you unaamka unagonga mawe inatoa maji. Hakuna, it's not possible. So that's why we have a profit and loss. If there was no losses, then we would not even have a book called P&L. I mean, it's a reality that it's possible to do P&L, but P&L is usually over a period of time. That's when you need to, you compile, and what you need to do is record. What am I doing every day? That tracking is what is very, very important. Otherwise, you might actually see so much money, even in your account, but the truth is that money is not yours realistically. It's not profit. So profit is only makes sense over time, because if you look at business, the first thing you do is invest. You put in money, and you don't know when you'll even get back that money that you have put in, for example, leave alone making profit. You have invested, you have built a showroom, you have done so much, you have done marketing. You see, marketing is not always relatable to sales. It's something you do for the long term. The marketing budget you have, you put in money, maybe the impact of that marketing will come after a year, for example, or 2 years. So that's why I'm very careful to tell people, if the first thing you enter into business, the first month, you're just checking how much profit have I made, then you'll close very fast before your business has even matured to give you money.
So how long are you suffering before you start registering profit? And I believe this is, imeshikana na point ya breaking even, right? And you say, kuna mahali kwa book yako imesema, some businesses can take 1 year, 3 years before they break even. Na hii tutashikanisha na hesabu ya Joram ya misumali zake. Hiyo atatuexplainia sunk cost fallacy. Like, when do you know, wachana na hii, ile hasara utaenda ni mingi kuliko pesa utaweka. So, 1 year, how do you know unacheza safe? Like, utasafa mpaka point fulani, you study. How much loss is okay to take in before you break even?
That will highly depend also on the nature of the business. Like now in our business where we sell cars, you cannot sell every car at a loss. Let's say you're selling 5 cars. Maybe 1 you can take in a loss or a break or cost. The other 4 at least you'd be able to make something, because remember you have overheads to pay, and overheads are paid by profit ideally. That's what should happen. Your profitability, gross profit, you remove expenses to get now the net. But revenue alone cannot tell you how you're doing. You can actually be selling, but all that money is also going back to be spent in the overheads that Joram was talking about. How do you know when to quit? Actually, you will know. You will know. Even your evil husband will tell you, this one, the way you're going. By the way, you should not ignore your partner if you have one. It's a conversation you must have at the table, even when you think they don't understand. Even if you're a lawyer and she's a housewife, you should be able to listen to her or him, for that matter. And there's a way when people look at things from outside, they're able to give you a better view. Yes. Because when you're inside something, you cannot see everything. But when you're outside, and that's why I highly propose, after you have been working inside your business for a long time, now you start working on it. You get outside and watch it from outside. Otherwise, you will be grading, thinking you're moving, and you're going down. So anyway, profitability, cash flow for me, cash flow first, profit rate. A business, if you leave employment, for example, and you're used to the nice offices Joram talked about, you know, when you leave, you have this vague picture of how out here it is, which is not true. Now you get out here, you discover things are so different. It takes you about 1 year to just, get used to the reality. It takes you another, let's say now, up to 3 years now to accept that now you're out here. Now, by 3 years, you meet with someone and they look at you, they wonder what happened to you, because you're not dressed the way you used to dress, but you're okay with it. But the first few years, you're still wondering, did I make the right decision? You're even feeling wishy for yourself. But it gets better. If you try a business, Joram was able to know happen kunoma and quit very fast. Many people are not able to do that. So they drain everything they came with. Let's say you left employment, you had your retirement package. So you keep, digging a hole and digging. And the right thing to do when you discover you're digging a hole is to stop digging and come out. So that's something you must have a conversation with yourself, but do as much refuse as possible. You know, as many things. Like now Joram is saying, he thought from the factory, ni kuuza na kurudi na pesa. Then between the factory even to the market, already that journey already, it's so much. So now you see, you're able to go back and say, this one, apana. This is the reality now. Should I continue? Should I wait? So those are conversations you must have yourself. It's not black and white, unfortunately. It's something you must sit yourself, maybe with people who you trust. And there are very few, by the way. When you're in business, there are very few people who you can sit with and discuss issues many people don't understand.
So when someone quits their job to invest, because what wanaambiwa now start a business, start a business. When someone quits their job, aanze biashara, they should be prepared, they should have a buffer period. Like there's the luxury of quitting your job, but there's being fired.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a whole chapter on how to manage being fired from your job in your book. But then my meaning is for the person that has been fired, how do you brace for the shock? How do you transition into business? Like for a 1 year period. That's where you talk about downgrading. How far do you go? Na kwa hii research ya business. Na kuja kwako Joram na hiyo story ya msumari because nazapenda kujua hiyo story ya sunk cost fallacy. How do you brace for this shock?
First of all, immediately you are employed, day one, you must start planning for your exit. From day one. Because it's true, I mean, there's no company that is so big beyond going down. By the way, there's nothing like that. We saw Nakumatt, which is very, very unfortunate. There's no business that is failure proof.
Okay.
You know? Immediately you join a company, the next thing you should start thinking is, what if this job only lasts 3 months? What if this job lasts 1 month? Now, the problem with Kenyans or many of us, or maybe the African culture is, unaingia kazi, the package is so good. You forget to even invest. You forget to keep something aside. You forget that there's tomorrow and you don't know how that tomorrow will be. So let's start from the beginning, because so that by the time we are capturing this person who has been working for 10, 15 years and now they are quitting and they're being fired rather, and there's nothing. Now first, even before we go far from, in this firing thing, the same way you joined a job without anything is the same way you should assume that, the job has ended. Where do I start? What do I have now? How will I survive? So if you're living in Kilimani 4-bedroom, start with going to a 2. Those are decisions you must make very fast. If you're driving your nice Mercedes Kingori, you must figure out how you can go as fast as possible to a demi on a serious note. If you sometimes you even be forced, sorry, I sell cars, I really want to sell cars, but sometimes you'll be forced to let me, for now, matatu. You know, until you're in such a place that, and you know that saves you. So that first, if you're in debt, it is not harassing you. Number 2, you can salvage the little you have, and if you're starting a business now, you have a base where to start. But if you want to continue the way you are living, that's how you end up in depression, because you want everyone else to know that niko hapa mimi sirudi chini. Yeah. Okay.
Now, before we go to Joram, unasema no company is failure proof, right?
No.
I think this also caught me. Yeah. How comes a supermarket like Nakumatt closes, and then on the same location another supermarket opens and does well? What's the science behind that?
There's actually a science. There's a science. I don't talk much about Nakumatt. Let me focus on our small. It's just an example.
Yes, yes.
But like we said, if you don't focus on the small details, like Joram was putting it, you know, have you ever heard Kenyans saying, akona pesa lakini ni mstingy sana? Si ati ni mstingy. Pesa haikuangi hivyo ati sasa juu uko nao ni kuspend. Ukispend hivyo itaisha. Money has a way of just, you know, and money is emotional. It studies you also. It's like a person, actually.
Yes.
You need to
happy. Don't
exactly.
No, Joram, I think you're the brand ambassador. Ni kujaribu tu. So now that this makes
sense. Kujaribu tu na kwambianga is real, because there's no time a business person feels confident enough and say, sasa niko sawa, nimefika. You meet the billionaires. Hakuna siku anasema sasa nimefika, niko sawa, nimemake it.
Yeah.
Because every day is new. The external environment is here. The dollar will misbehave. You have no control at all. Actually, Forex alone can come and wipe out your business, for example. Political tensions like we have during, they can just wipe you out and you start again at zero. So in business, there is no ati sasa niko nimefika, ni kujaribu tu.
Umefanya poa, because I think that is a lot of people. Tulikuwa napiga story na Honorable Kimani Konjiri, the now land CS mwenye ni MP. Alikuwa anasema the young people siku hizi hawezi lala kitanda moja na tao. Asi akona tao moja. So one of the biggest advocates, one of the biggest catalysts of poverty is not kama huwezi tulia na pesa.
Hiyo ni shida kubwa sana. Actually, money, by the way, well, we may not be where we want money-wise, but one of the principles of money is this. Looking for money is not as hard as keeping it. Keeping is where the secret is. How long can you hold to money?
We discuss keeping. Joram, kuna kitu inaitwa sunk cost fallacy.
Yes.
Unaangalia umeinvest, let's say 10, 20 million kwa biashara yako ya misumali. Unasema hiyo pesa iwezi enda hivyo. How do you decide uacha iende hivyo badala ya kung'ang'ana mpaka market ikubali?
You know, you have to make a conscious decision that you are not out to please anyone. Because if you are, then you will stick there so that your friends say, hey, Joram is still doing very well. And that time, privately, you are in tears. But you know, you are telling people I'm doing well. So you have to make a conscious decision that this cost is okay. I'm okay to lose up to this point.
Yes.
So that I can begin again.
Yes.
And for me, it was to say, I have sunk this number of millions. How much can I liquidate by selling the machines?
Yes.
How much can I get back? Selling the machines, selling the lorry. Fortunately, the land where I put up was mine, so there was no rent. So lock the premises, decide that I need to go back to what I knew. And that for me was the beginning of Kaman. To be able to say that now you can create your company and move it up.
Okay. Na hizo msumali zilienda wapi ama
The good thing with the misumari, even if today I have a lot of money, there are reasons I have learned and I would not go back to production. Because, you know, everybody, the politicians will tell you, go to production. But they are also not in production. But production is very hard in the sense that the costs that you incur are quite high. Electricity, you have labor. So by the time you're making your 2 shillings, you need to divide that 2 shillings to the electricity, to the labor, to the licenses, to petrol and all those things.
Yes.
So unless you are doing it on a very huge scale.
But that's why hata kwa food, farmers ndio wanaumia the most.
Yes.
The Kenyan economy does not support production.
Yes. But the person who buys from the farmer, sells to the consumer,
makes money.
Wonders why the farmer is not rich.
One of my favorite stories from you is how you built your house.
Yes.
And I think you unlocked something in my mind. Kwa pande yangu ilikuwa overanalyzing.
Yes.
Right? And I think by your strategy, that would unlock the idea of everybody having a home. Where does yours start? Ndio nisiharibu your story.
I think for us, let me say that with my wife, we reached a point where we felt we needed to own a home.
Yes.
Because you are paying rent twice for where I was living and for where they were living, because you are not living at the same place that time.
Yes.
So we decided that whichever way, even if the transfer doesn't work, we need to put up a home.
Yes.
So where do we get the money? We have this idea of the nice home we want to do, but we don't have the money. So we began by taking a loan, buy the plot.
Yes.
And then we also realized that we needed to be realistic to ourselves.
Yes.
That we do not have a rich father.
Yes.
Nor are we going to steal from somebody.
Yes.
We are going to do that house over time based on where we are.
Okay.
So that we do not fail to do it.
Yes.
Because we are not able to do it to the finish.
Yes.
But we do it bit by bit. And so I took a loan that bought the plot and began the foundation. And then my wife also took a loan that did the plastering. And we moved in.
Step by step.
Step by step.
Weren't you worried that you would get stuck at some point because people, for example, taking a loan to invest in a house is actually considered a liability in financial literacy circles. Why weren't you scared of building using a loan.
But you see, the liability would also be an asset in the sense that once I have built, I can be able to do equity release. So that I own a house that is also enabling me to get money to invest in business or to invest in something else. Okay. So you have to look at it in the long term. But if you say, I'm better off paying rent, who would ever allow you to take a loan with their house because you pay rent for 20 years? But a bank that sees you've lived in your own premises and you're saying, can you give me a loan of 3 million against this house worth 20 million? The bank will be able to analyze your cash flows and say yes. Okay. And that for us was the motivation in the long term. Have our own home where our children would call home and also be able to avoid the rent and also prepare for business, because for a very long time I knew that I would end up doing business, not employment.
Okay, another argument that people have in terms of home owning, let's say you have a house and the neighborhood you mentioned, hiyo si mchezo, plus the cost of land, nikikupea kidogo sana ni 20-30 million, right? Na then mtu anaangalia anasema, you're owning versus paying rent ya 50K, the commitment ya 20-30 million is too high. Where is the balance? The idea that you can use it for equity?
The commitment you're doing, you're not doing 30 million now. You're doing 30 million over a period of 10 years.
Yes.
So it's like somebody who says, I need to have that body shape or I need to lose this weight and stands in the field to jog. He sees the figure he wants, but he doesn't do anything about it. Okay. He doesn't start jogging, but he knows what he wants. Okay. So I know the house I want, and I know I want that house complete in 10 years.
Yes.
What do I begin doing today? Can I be able to take 500,000 and buy the plot? Oh. Because if I do not do that, the place that I am standing to buy the plot today, the prices will be different 2 years down the line.
Okay.
So I'm also saying, can I be able to save down by doing the decision today than doing the decision 10 years from now?
That is the most convincing account I've ever had for home ownership. Because there was a conversation online not very long ago that actually owning a home is like investing in a dead asset. For me, that makes sense now. It makes sense, Anna. When we come to investing, diversification, kuna watu who speak against a side hustle. Passive income, kama Dama, tulikuwa na Dama, very good vibes, Dama mobile spares on the show. Akasema hakuna kitu kama passive income. Hakuna ati umelala pesa yako inaingianga. Wewe umejaribu zote. Is it a different experience for different people?
No. As a financial fitness trainer, there is passive income, and every time people talk about financial freedom, actually that's what they're looking for. Passive income is income that comes to you without you working, actively working. For example, without going to many details. Let's say you have been employed for a long time, and your employer allows you to take unsecured loan. And that is why what Joram is saying makes a lot of sense, especially if you're employed and your employer has a relationship with a bank, and that bank gives you what we call unsecured, meaning even if you take that loan, buy a plot or whatever, the plot is not attached to that loan. By all means, you must make use of that money. Reason being, it helps you first be disciplined. The way we were saying you can't sleep with 1,000 for the generation. If the 500 is already gone and you're left with 500 to use, because even if you don't take these loans, you will leave employment and you look back and wonder, what exactly did I do with my money? But the minute you commit, and remember, the banks only allow you to you can't go past 2/3. There's something called 2/3 rule. When you're taking a loan, you must have at least 1/3 of your income coming to you after all the liabilities are taken away. So passive income means if this house, for example, like now as the house we built when we were young, using those loans when we were employed, we no longer live in them, but we have rented out that house. That is, for me, that is passive income because we are not doing anything right now to earn that money, for example. That is some little coins, not much, but that income can save you somewhere. Now, this is how I like explaining passive income, and I have put it on my book on liquid ways to invest your money in Kenya. if, for example, you have been working 10 years, and over those 10 years you have saved, let's say 1 million Kenya shillings, and you take that 1 million Kenya shillings and go put it, for example, in money market or buy bonds, such things. The interest you get from that money, you have not worked for that interest. So that is purely passive income.
At 10%, that's 100,000.
That's 100,000 per
in
year.
A year.
In a year.
You break that down. Let's say umepewa your 100,000 for the next year.
Yeah.
It's 10K, 10K, 10K.
And actually it compounds, so it may end up being way more than 100, maybe 120K. So that's almost like earning 10K every month from money that you're not doing anything. Your money, yes, is there. When you need your money, you'll go for it. But this money is earning. That is what we call passive income.
So the trick is in increasing the amount you can get if broken down.
If broken down.
Monthly.
Yeah.
Broken down monthly and compounding as much as possible. Compounding means instead of withdrawing, when you don't need that money, let it bear. Let it be returned again. It becomes now a capital again, earns interest like that. By the way, compounding is very, very powerful. And that is something I'm very committed to teaching, especially the people who are getting employed now, the 22, 23-year-olds.
In fact, we had Dr. Washira on the show. He told us that after 6 years, your money starts to double.
Yes.
And there's an example in your book in Itwa, the water lily something.
Yes.
Like however big a pond is.
Yes, itaja hapo. A water lily grows double every day. It goes into double.
However big the pond is.
Oh yeah, it has to fill.
An equal amount of time.
Yes, to fill. Yes. And that is now the power of compounding. Compounding is very powerful, but takes patience, takes a lot of discipline. The way we are saying with the Joram here, forget about what people will say. Okay. Because if you're leaving employment, and like I have told you, if you get employed today, you must start thinking, what if I am fired tomorrow? If you don't live like that, then you might live a very wasteful life.
Okay.
And that's why in our generation, you'll find someone lost their job, and in 1 month, amekufa. Why are they dying? And yet they were not born with this job. This job came. So we must live with the reality, with the hope that what can I do for tomorrow? By the way, there's something I want to tell you. We are talking about entrepreneurship as if it's always making money. I must surprise you and tell you, very, very many people have become very poor because of daring entrepreneurship. Actually, more people than succeed. Very few people succeed in entrepreneurship. Oh yeah, look at the figures. Even the first year of business alone, you'll find like 80% off. Okay. And remember, these people had either borrowed money from friends, family, bank, whatever. That money goes as in goes and goes. So ideally, that person gets worse off by far than they were before. So that's a reality.
The people who succeed are the people who have access to trying more and more.
More and more. More and more. You talked about diversification. Sometimes you just try something. Like you find before someone succeeds in the business, they have tried 99 of them and failed and burnt money or lost money or whatever you want to call that. And we like making entrepreneurship look very fancy, but I can tell you it's not easy. When you're employed, I tell people who are employed, please be an entrepreneur yourself. Look at it this way. I'm selling skills and getting paid. The minute employees start looking at employment that way, then we'll not have issues of integrity, we'll not have issues of people stealing time. Productivity level in Kenya is very low. By the way, it's like below 30%. Meaning, if Kingori, you're supposed to be working 8 hours a day for your employer, people are working 2 or 3. Did you know that? Yeah, we are stealing. We are stealing from our employers.
And I think that ties to something I'm coming back to you on. Yeah, Kenya has there's a word, it's not difficult customers.
Yeah.
But there's something you said about Kenya, as in the trust currency.
Risky. They are risky.
Risky. Kenya has risky customers. Yes. We are coming back to that. Joram.
Yes.
Tunarudi pale we tie something kwa overheads and then paying yourself. Kuna hii kitu ya paying yourself. Wakati unaangalia how much internet costs, how much your desk costs.
Yes.
Hizi zote.
Yes.
Like how do you go about paying yourself?
You know, when the business is young, you must determine whether you will pay yourself or not. And in most cases, you do not. You do not. Because if you, for example, if I say the level I came out from employment, and then I say I want that salary, I would not be where I am. Because, you know, my salary was high. And of course, there were what that position held. And you know, if you come out and say, my position was this, so I need to drive this car, I need to have this salary, you will close within a year. So you must determine, and most entrepreneurs, like she's saying, determine that I want to succeed. So what are the critical things that are going to make me successful? One is to determine what am I going to pay myself from the onset. Then my salary will keep growing as the company grows. And so that when now I have grown, then I can reduce a number of overheads which I know and accommodate a higher salary.
And there's a difference between your money and the business money.
Yes, the business money. I can have in my account 4 million that belongs to business because I sold your car and I sold another person's car. My money there could be 10,000. So that money doesn't belong to me, Joram. It belongs to Kaman. Kaman, as an entity, must pay the suppliers. So if I feel now, hiyo joto ya niko na pesa, so I can spend the way I want, I will just close with people's money. And that has happened to very many car dealers, where I'm not able to differentiate what is my money and what is the business money.
You can have 4 million and your money there is only
10,000. And you are content because that is what you have earned. So you must be able to pay your suppliers and remain with your 10,000 and be able to say, tomorrow I make another maybe 10,000 or 5,000 and I build it over time.
So the true success of a business could be hidden in accepting what's yours and what belongs to others.
And determining your salary. Because if you do not determine your salary, then you'll be drawing from the business. What are you drawing from? And Purity has mentioned, liquidity is very key in business. So because you are liquid and you see, you know, it's like going to the till in the shop and you see I have 20,000 and you just say, let me pick 2. So it's the same way because money is in the bank and you can see it. Possibly you can even access it from your phone. And you say, because I have 200, let me just draw 100. That 100 is not yours. It is for the business. So you must distinguish the account that pays you, which is your salary account, and you must draw from that.
Don't draw from the business.
Don't draw from the business. Because the business and you are 2 separate people.
Hey, wow, that's deep. I think pole pole hata mimi naenda niki understand some of the things that I take for granted. Of course, I've interacted with a lot of finance material. I've learned up and down nikipanda nikishuka, and I'm glad you said that. Because pia Purity kwa book yako, you have something that complements what Joram says. It says you can read all the finance books in the world, but nothing prepares you to the ground. So the real business is on the ground.
Oh yeah. Kwa ground mambo ni tofauti sana. Now, you asked why would a supermarket close, someone else come and put a supermarket there and they succeed?
Yes.
It is true. The same way, you find 5 ladies, each one of them selling tomatoes.
Yes.
Let's even assume they bought from the same person.
Yes.
But one might go home with 5 times the sale of the other one. Business principles are very, very interesting. They are very interesting. But I must say, if you're running a business, you must be in the right state of mind. Mentor. Your mentor status, I think, for me, and your mindset is more important even than profits. Sometimes it will take time even before you actually earn profits. But things like integrity, like Joram has put here, can keep you in the long run. You may not be as flashy as everyone else. You may not be the most flashy car dealership. But you are following the basics, things like honesty. And that will keep you in the business for a very, very long time. Just to surprise you. Some of us have never seen the salaries we earned when we were employed. We cannot afford to pay ourselves that. Actually, your employees earn better than you. Number 2, you see the way when you're employed, you go to the bank and say, I'm employed by Urban Drive. That employee will get an unsecured loan from the bank because they have a pay slip. But me, I'll go and I'll ask, what do? I learn a business? They'll tell me no. You'll tell me, bring a title. Exactly. That is the most ridiculous thing about our system. Oh, no, it doesn't work like that. I remember when I left employment, because of the loans I had taken through the employer scheme, after many years, after I had cleared paying them, the bank kept calling me, can we now top you up? Then I would ask them, are you sure? The minute they had, I'm no longer employed, they would hang up very fast. It takes so long before actually a bank can lend you money as a business because they have to come, check. They will trust that you're employed better than you as an employer.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense. But then if you say that, what are the alternative sources of funding a business for someone who's starting from scratch? Because we have dwelled so much on transitioning from employment.
Yeah.
For the person who has not been employed, they just want to enter ama kuingia entrepreneurship straight up.
Let me give you a practical example from where me and Joram sit as car dealers.
Yes.
Let's say you want to start a car dealership. You want to import cars and sell, or you just want to sell cars on behalf of people.
Yes.
You actually first seek to sell other people's stock. Have you ever heard people saying making money with other people's money? That is exactly what it means. Let's say you want to sell clothes. Let me give it another perspective. You go to someone who sells very nice clothes like the way you're wearing and say, by the way, I can market these clothes. You see? How much is this suit? 25,000. Then the owner will tell you, if you sell, I'll give you 5%. I'll give you 10%. That is one of the easiest ways to start a business without capital. Okay, someone will come to Urban Drive, a serious person. Everyone say they will sell cars, but many cannot. They'll come and say, I'll market this car. If I sell, can you give me 10,000? That is how you start without money. That's how you start a business without money. And thank God for internet and online business now. Initially we used to go to the bazaar on Jamhuri. So you needed to take the physical car there. The whole day you're there doing a kuchoma. Now, I can simply come, say, I fetch you, I see you're a genuine person. Then, because also there are a lot of workers here selling our cars and saying they are theirs and then conning people on the way. So they come, they market that car, they make their 20K, and they start like that slowly. It's a process. The process must happen. There's no shortcut. There's no shortcut. So you can start that way. You can also borrow money from relatives. By the way, most businesses in this country are funded by friends and relatives. So you'll not believe that. Yeah, because before you have a relationship with the bank, for them to be able to lend you as a business, it takes so long. So long. You will not believe it. A very long time. They'll come and see actually there is money. But the paperwork, the process, it's too much. It's such a hassle. But you can tell your relative, give me money. I'll refund you after 2 years. And you'll find someone who is gracious enough. And I want to beg Kenyans to be repaying debts because we really have a problem. We are really risky, like I told you. And that's why you see our interest rates are very high. We are not trustworthy. There's a problem. Ukipea mtu pesa, hiyo inakuwa enmity. From that time, that guy is your enemy. Officially.
Wow. Kuna something Purity told me, and I believe you are very capable of answering it. Purity told me that kwa biashara, ikijiweka ati everything as a cost you pay in cash, you will close down. Ati huyu ameleta hii, pay them cash. This one has been supplied, lipa cash. Utasota. How do you balance?
You in business you must determine from the onset, how do you want to manage your cost? And how do you want to manage your incomes? Because you see, if you say, today I have sold, so I go and pay all my expenses. How much money is yours there? Because like she's saying, we sell suppliers cars. So if I have sold a car today, and maybe my money there is 10,000, and I have a bill to pay of 20,000, I have paid with whose money? So I must determine that there are certain costs I will accrue, keep accruing them, so that I pay them at a certain point in time. Then I'm able to say, at this point, I'm accumulating money to pay these expenses. For example, these rentals. You have to determine, I pay rent by the 5th. So by the 5th, where will I have got that money? So I do not wake up every day and say, I'm paying rent, so I send the owner of the premises money. But I keep aside, knowing that eventually I'll do what? I'll do a certain payment. And that,
umeangukia pesa useme, let me shock my landlord today.
No, you will shock yourself. You will shock yourself by having no money for fuel. And you see, you are running, let's say you are running 15 cars in the yard, and people have gone for test drive. If the car didn't have fuel, imekwama huko haina mafuta, do you think that customer will want to hear a story? Ati haina mafuta. They will wonder, why wouldn't you have put fuel? So there are things you must keep the cost, and these costs must be taken care of. They are not a surprise. They will certainly crystallize at one point in time. So are you keeping that money so that you are able to pay those costs. And that also applies to your income. And one of the disciplines that I have in my place of work is to say,
yes,
you have sold the car today.
Yes.
But can we agree that we do the payment for commissions on this day?
Okay.
So that you do not pay today and then tomorrow you are paying somebody else. The next day you are paying somebody else.
Yes.
You have a certain rhythm
Yes.
and cycle of payments
Wow.
for all your expenses.
Okay.
And that's a better way to manage your cash flow, because cash flow in the business is key.
Cash flow is king.
Yes.
You advocate for that a lot. Lakini kuna kitu tena Joram amesema ya ati watu wameenda test drive. That fuel is on you.
Yes.
The customers may not even end up buying.
Yes.
You have a name for these costs. Za biashara, fixed costs, right? Fixed costs. How you cannot be stingy with fixed costs.
No, you can't. They're already fixed.
What's this strategy ulisema ya spreading them across over time ndio zisikumize sana, but pia you should not ignore them.
Let me give an example with another business other than cars.
Yes.
Let's say you run a shop in town and
Yes.
rent is 30,000 a month.
Yes.
You can decide from every day's sale. You see, rent you must pay whether you're making profit or not. You put away 1,000, for example, or 1,500.
Yes.
Now you can decide,
Yes.
mtu wa maji, there's someone who supplies water in the office.
Yes.
I pay them on the first. Mtu wa nini, let's say another expense, I pay them on the second. So you distribute your cost almost maybe even in 2 weeks. So that you see many things are supposed to be paid at the end of the month. For suppliers, those ones we pay them instant. You have sold your car, we give your money. That one is non-negotiable. Within 24
I'm a
hours.
witness to that.
Yes. Those ones you have to pay. Those ones are, but now the overheads are the ones we are talking about a lot. So you can distribute them over time. You can, the way Joram said, at the back of your mind, you know, I need 300,000, I need 400,000 for rent. Then you know what that means back to the coins. And that is why for us coins are very important. For someone else who say 2K, anashinda amefikiri mambo ya 2,000. Kwetu sio 2K. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. And distributing the cost is the way to go. Yeah.
So the secret to growing, hii yenye atikuspoil. How do you rise above the guilt? Yeah, 2K ama 5K, si do. Like mtu akiona gari yako alafu aseme
no, as we don't have guilt for sure. You can't have guilt.
Hakuna emotions.
No emotions. You cannot run business with emotions. You use your head more than the heart when you're running a business. Apply your head more. Heart issues are very tricky. The heart can be deceiving.
Where does kitu disposable income come in? Kama Joram, you've trained your mind that 2,000 means that. Tao moja means that. Unaweza kuwa unaona 10 million, but 1,000 it's just their 1,000 bob.
Yes.
How do you find yourself unasema leo acha ninunue kiatu ya 20K?
20K. You have to plan it for a number of months. Because as much as you can make money, you know, there's something she said. Money is not made in a month. A month can be very bad. And that's the month you have decided to buy 20,000 worth of a shoe. What happens to rent? And you have possibly sold, you know, you must not always sell at a profit.
Yes.
You can say this month I'm forecasting that I will sell so that I can be liquid, because I have not been able to make profit and I still need to pay my fixed cost. You know, for a business person, you have to have a book where your every expense goes. Even if it's 5,000, I've sent you 5,000 for Uber to go and pick another car in Adams.
Yes.
You know, for the worker is 500. Very little. Why do you want to change? But for me, it's 500 shillings.
Yes.
Because 500 shillings accumulated, 5-10 of them is 5,000.
Yes.
So I may ignore the 5,000, and that is where the roof is leaking. So I must be able to say, even for my own discipline, if somebody who sells shoes and trousers comes to the office every day, will you be spending on, this time they have nice things. It's shoes you buy. Next time they have trousers and shirts. And you had not budgeted for them.
Yes.
So you must be deliberate with how do you manage your expenses.
again you complement something niliona kwa kitabu ya Morgan Housel. It was Psychology of Money, yenye inasema wealth is in the money you do not spend.
Yes.
So sana kutengeneza do ukuwe ndio uko na do, like you have money. Two things you've said, money is not made in a month.
Yes.
So when you're buying something, you have to look at what this costs you in terms of the period of time you need to balance for you to afford it.
Yes.
Alafu sasa pia then basi that means the true making of money is in how you spend what you have.
Exactly.
And that's what brings the idea ya kitu ulikuwa umesema ya
how much you keep.
How much you keep.
Yeah.
So kila kitu ni how much you keep. So, pesa ikiingia ndio kule pesa yangu niandikie proposal. Like, make it make sense.
Yeah. And plus, remember we said you're paying yourself a salary. So if you were to buy a shoe, it has nothing to do with your business money. Yeah. So you're buying with your personal money because a shoe is personal.
Okay.
But in one of these books, I highly recommend a normal earning Kenyan. You use a 60-20-10-10. I call it a 60-20-10-10 rule, where your personal, not the business money, the money you earn as a salary, whether you're employed or you're the employer, you can spend 60% of it, assuming you're just a normal Kenyan, not an extremely wealthy person.
Yes.
60% spend it. 10%, I call it black tax.
Okay.
By the way, that black tax is, if you have to spend more than 10, it has to eat your 60%. 10% black tax. Black tax is very big in Africa and in Kenya specifically. Uko na mtoto, unasomeshanga, unatumianga mamako pesa. I call it the money you pay for being born.
So
kizaliwa tu hivi Kenya, just know utalipa.
So all that should fit in 10%.
They should fit in. If it is not fitting, then it should go to where you're expending. The other 10, if you're a Christian or if you believe in giving, give to a cause, whether it's to God, whatever. 10%. 20, you must keep.
Okay.
And assume that money did not exist. Because we work for, let's say, before the universities came and changed, when we were going to school, we used to stay 2 years after Form 4 home, and then we go to university. So most likely you finished university at 24. So between 24 and let's say, what is the retirement age? Let's say 55.
65.
Is it 65?
60.
Okay, 60.
60, okay. Up to 60, you're
Except
earning.
for politicians.
You're earning. But now after 60, nothing. So now between the 24, 25, let's say 25 years to 60, and 60 sound a bit, let's call it 55. You have about, is that 30 years of active work. You're working. This working, remember, let's say after that 55, you'll be eating what you saved. But remember, I've told you to keep 20%. Life will be normal. Potatoes will be more expensive than they are today. So that's why you must keep that money, and that money now must start. You must invest that, not just save, invest it, let it now bear interest, compound that, because that time you still need to eat, you still need to dress, you still need to give people what hawajui that now you're not working. So it's very, very important as Kenyans to start saving immediately. In fact, I like talking to people who are getting employed so that I can prepare them for the future. Because it is very easy, and it's not hard to work for 20 years and live and wonder, what was I doing for all these 20? Where did the money go? You're wondering where the money went. You should have asked that question immediately you started. Where will my money go? You should actually give your money direction. Money go here, money go here. Otherwise, you'll be checking and wondering, where? Ilienda wapi? Ulinunia watu drinks hapo hapa kule, pesa haiko.
And in the world of today, I think I'm starting to subscribe to the idea that it's not possible to be employed till retirement. I think it's becoming impractical to work till retirement.
Actually, what did we used to call it? Permanent and pensionable is a very, it is no longer there. Look at just COVID alone. What did COVID do? You had a whole office block full of nice companies. COVID came, people working from home. Okay? You're working from home. And nowadays, we are continually seeing trends where the labor market, people are hiring you and paying you for your performance. Okay? Umekuja umefanya 1 hour.
Yes.
This is what I did. I pay you for that. That is where we are moving to. So hizi stories are unions, sijui nini, zitaisha actually. Because this thing of I have whatever benefits, just because I'm employed. The longevity of being employed is no longer there. Not even because people don't want it. It's just the way things are evolving.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joram, another thing I can quote Purity on ni ati you should not hold money. Hold ati usishikilie, ushikilie. Na bado tunakuja kwa what's the difference between holding, kushikilia pesa na hiyo ya kusema money is not made in a month, let me accumulate. What's the difference?
Okay, maybe I first mention something she has said.
Yes.
The changes that are in the market today.
Yes.
Let's say you are 45 and you are at the C-suite level. Your salary is also a very high part of the company expense. So if the directors are looking to reduce costs, who will they target?
You're the easiest.
You are the guy to go. Because your parts possibly are 11% of the total staff expense.
Yes.
And that's a reality people must start preparing. That as I go up,
could be a liability.
Yes, the risk for me to be brought down by virtue of cutting cost.
Yes.
So, and companies are saying, can we engage for 3 years so that it is easier for us to disengage in case performance is not coming.
Okay.
So that's a reality, and people must start engaging and saying,
yes,
should that happen, and my contract is not renewed,
okay,
what do I do?
Yes, yes, yes.
But let's come to the issue of holding money.
Yes.
And, letting the money also work for you. I can have the money now,
yes,
but I have a plan for that money because I can see what that money will do for me. So I'm not only holding it here for the sake of saying I'm holding money. You know, I heard politicians say that Kenyans are holding dollars.
Yes.
We've not seen that huge effect of their release because I don't think people are holding that money waiting for a big leap. The reality is I can hold to the money now because I know that in Japan, for example, cars would be cheaper towards a certain period of time.
Okay.
And I can be able to buy better that time than if I just spend the money by buying now. So I can postpone that decision by holding the money so that I can be able to make a prudent decision that would give me more money.
Okay. Okay.
Now that's not the same as, just holding that money for the sake of it. Because money must be able to work for you.
Yes.
If it doesn't, then it is not money. It is something else. And that reality must be a reality that you must be awake to, that if I'm just holding this money and it's not in the bank,
okay,
possibly it is maybe in the bank but not earning anything,
okay,
then that money is not working for me.
Wow.
And that's why for a businessman, I must be able to say, how much money do I have and what is it doing for me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Accountability to yourself.
Yes.
Sawa. So you also are big on kusema when you say Kenyans are risky customers, Kenyans are also risky employees. And you go ahead and give an example. Yeah, your business makes money when you're there, but you can't be in two places at the same time. What's the remedy or what's the solution to that? Dama pia alikuwa on the show alituambia lazima uibiwe. Hata kama wewe ni Superman.
We like saying how high the rate of unemployment in Kenya is. There are no jobs. We keep saying that.
Yes.
But let me shock you that what we don't have is faithful employees. If you interact with many business owners, they will tell you how, the way Dama told you, maybe from her experience. And even me from experience, I have seen a lot of integrity issues with Kenyan employees, which is very, very unfortunate. So however much we are saying that there are no jobs in Kenya, no, I don't think so. The jobs are there, but we don't have the right people to do the jobs because most people are actually thugs. Kenyans keep saying politicians are stealing. It is not politicians, this is a Kenyan problem. We need to run that. And if you look at it, when people steal from their employers, what do they do with that money? They spend it, they just splash it. It doesn't help them. Yes. They'll not go open a business now it's running and you're like, yeah, idea. Most of it is just, it just goes like that.
Yes.
Now on this money we keep looking for. With time when you're running a business, when you enter business, most of the time you think, I'll make money, I'll make profits. Then you get in here, things change. You stop thinking about how much will I make. Now you start looking at the impact. You have 5, 10 employees, you're thinking, wataamkia wapi? I don't want these people to go home. I don't, like COVID time, we used to say, we really don't want to send even a single person home. So things really change. You look at the impact you have in the market. Joram and I are running car dealerships on Kiabu Road, and people have lost money, customers, when trying to buy or import cars. Yeah. We are there to make sure customers' money is safe. So it is not being about, I'll make a lot of money, because in reality, you may not even make that money. And then you get content with what you have. That return you're making. Then with time, consistency, you discover, you look at the people you have employed, they are still having children, their kids are going to school, and now things now it is stop being about you anymore. It is now start being about the impact you're having on this economy, on our country, in your families. And you see, a huge, you see it very differently when you start looking at it that way. Yeah. Otherwise, if it was just about money, most of us would be closed. Yeah.
Utatu-explainia kitu fulani ya dealing with debt na how people find themselves in the Fuliza culture. Yes. And Fuliza in this context, not the product, but the idea of you can't exit the borrowing culture, and for short term, But before that, tukielekea kufunga. Joram, kuna kitu ingine tena from an author of the books we are about to introduce people to. When you have two people, moja aanze biashara na pesa, na mwingine aanze from scratch. Like these people will have very different experiences. If you start a business with everything you need, versus if you start a business from scratch, growing gradually, hata kama you'll get to the same level. What does this mean? Which one would you choose? Kwanza biashara ukiwa umepewa pesa yote unahitaji, enda kwa bank, pewa 5 million, anza grant 5 million, anza, ama growing to 5 million?
Growing to 5 million.
Why?
Because the lessons you learn when you do not have everything, they are very many, and you keep them for long. You can imagine if, for example, I began with 100 cars, and there is no effort. Whatever you get that is, you have not put a lot of effort and there are no lessons, you hardly keep it. Naturally. It's like if my dad was very wealthy and possibly he bequeathed me 20 million, possibly I would not be having it now. But if I have built 20 million, then I am very careful about that 20 million, because there is a story behind the 20 million. There are pains behind the 20 million. There are lessons behind the 20 million. So when you grow your business gradually, there are handles and lessons you learn that sometimes help you to be able to keep what you make.
Okay.
The other thing is that when you have grown with your business, you know the mistakes you have made. And you know when you cannot repeat that same mistake, because you know where it will take you. A good example is, for example, what people say, diversification. And you say, because I've made this money, let me diversify. And you are diversifying into a line that possibly you have zero idea, and you go and burn your money there. So as you grow with the money that you are making pole, there are lessons and pains that come that keep you on the narrow and the straight.
Okay.
So that you are not able to meander, as opposed to where you have all this money and you're just saying, let's see whether this thing will work.
Okay. And now this means that you may not have had a wealthy dad, but you are that to your children now.
Yes.
Do you think about the experience they will have when now they hit the market? Now someone wants to start a business. Do you give them the money, or how do you prepare them to fend for themselves?
Now, one of the things I have deliberately done is I have 3 girls. So one has just graduated, is in Kenya School of Law.
Yes.
When she was in campus on the wrong holiday, she came to the company to work. And the reason is to see, where does this money that pays my fee come from? Number 2 is to be able to understand the dynamics of business.
Yes.
That you can stay in the showroom the whole day and nobody comes. And I tease them and tell them, my work is like a watchman. You do not know when the customer will come, but you have to be there. Rest the customer comes and you are not there.
You have days then nobody will come.
Not even days. Even days continuously.
Nobody has come. You wish
nobody has opened the car than the guy cleaning. But you have to show up. You have to show up because you do not know when the customer with money will come.
And you also know, and I think you and Jesse, I walked into Jesse's showroom in 2019, wakati alinuzia gari ya kwanza I bought from Urban Drive. And later, the car ilikuwa imezungushwa sana kwa WhatsApp groups, right? And when I got there, later nilimuuliza, because I believe I was young then, nilikuwa under 30, and it was a car that was not for people of my age. And I think later nilimuuliza, and that's where hiyo kitu ya najuanga mtu ananunua come. How do you know? Na how do you treat? Because Purity alisema kuna watu wanaingianga kwa showroom, mtu anataka kuona tu gari, hataki kuiona kwa site, anataka kuona live. The people who are dreaming. How do you balance between the people who are dreaming and the people who are customers?
I think from the experience of selling, it's just like, you know, a mother. A mother will say, I know the child is crying. How do they know? Sometimes it's very difficult for them to explain. But you can have an instinct that this guy is going to buy. And sometimes I tell my sales guy, that guy is going to buy. So take time with him. Because you can already see, this one is not coming to open every other car. They specifically are coming, targeting a certain car, and for sure you close the deal. So that instinct to know that today is a good day because this guy has come and he may be buying.
But you also have instances, people who just want to feel a car, wanakuja wanaenda test drive.
Wanaenda test drive, wanarudi tena, wanafanya test drive and they will not buy.
Na unajua na utapatia to the full customer experience.
Because they may come another day and they may buy. Or they may never come. But you have also learned something. To be patient. You know, when I began selling cars, I used to, you know, initially we sold, you know, you buy, you sell. Then it reached a point where I'm not selling. So my wife told me, you know, a car is not a piece of bread. That you go to the shop and you say, give me that bread. You have to, somebody has to make a conscious decision.
You almost gave up.
I almost gave up.
But your wife...
Yes. You know, when she told me, you know, a car is not a piece of bread. That somebody has to come and say, give me that loaf. They have to, you know, some even to smell the car. And all those things that hii gari imetumika hapa Kenya. And I'm sure Purity is a witness. A customer can come and the car is brand new. They say, this car has been used here. But you have to explain to them that this car is new. You can even see the paperwork. So you take a lot of time with them and eventually you convince them. Because between you and selling is the customer's level of decision. If they do not make the decision for you, they'll just, you know, drive up and they make it in Up and Drive or somewhere else. So you have to do your best.
And I hope I'll take a mental note. Ideally, you guys should be competition. Kiambu Road selling cars. By the way, I think when I was looking for the car I bought for you, nilitoka kwa kina Jesse, nikakuja kwako, and I got it from you. And when I was calling to set this up, I was like, wow, any competition, it work. But somehow mna work cordial, which is very good vibes. Before turudi kwa hiyo kufungua biashara, the copycat culture wa Kenya, not necessarily in this car, but kufungua biashara mahali kuna biashara ingine kama hiyo. Hebu tuambie something about, because huyu amesema the wife alim support as he give up. Na again, let me quote Dama pole, I'll quote episodes zenye tushafanya. Dama alisema, usiwahi jaribu kuoa ama getting married to a person that mko in the same business. To quote her words, alisema, afadhali ukue mwalimu na yeye akue na polisi, mkutane kwa nyumba akiwa na bunduki na wewe na kalamu. You and Jesse mmeko pamoja since gari ya kwanza, which I think was a Toyota 100, right? This means chenye Dama alisema iko na exceptions.
Unajua, people talk from maybe their personal experiences of what they have had. For us, we work together. I think we have sat in the same office since 2016, sitting, hapa kwa hapa. In fact, we used to have one table. You see, one of the things I have put here in the 70 realities of learning a business is your partner, your life partner, even if you're not working together, is either a success factor for your business or otherwise, whether you like it or not. And like you have heard him say, the wife told him, the wife does not sell cars, okay? But she has something that can help him in his business. Remember, I started by telling you, you can be a lawyer and your wife is actually a housewife, but you can come home with a whole case, going to court tomorrow, and your wife gives you a word, or your husband, and just like that, you win. So for me, how we sit in the office, we don't sit as husband and wife. We sit as people who have come to work and with the same goal, but very different.
So kwa ofisi, kwa hiyo desk yenu, he's Jesse, mkitoka nje ndio babe.
Babo ya babe yuko nje. So the truth is, he did marketing as a major, I did accounting as a major, but I am the one who is more of marketing now, and he's the one who does the real finance.
Yeah, naogopa kamera.
Ni alifaa kuwa hapa hata. So the truth is, it's just how you look at it. You can fight outside. Immediately mwingie ofisi hivi. Mnaanza kuongea because you need to talk about the cars. Mkimalizana magari sasa muende nje sasa mnyamaziane. You know, it's the reality. So we are not saying that now you have to act. You just have to know that this is a business. Because think about this. You go to work, you don't like your boss. Your boss has been very bad to you. Yeah. But when they ask you a question, when they ask for a report, you just have to submit. Why? Okay. Remember, you see this boss. In fact, do you know you spend more time in the office than if you're employed than at home? And you have to put up with so many people that you don't like there, remember. You can't beat them. You can't call them bad names because, you know, you have to be diplomatic. The same thing in the office. You just apply diplomacy. You just understand your personalities and respect each other's boundaries and just work. That's all.
All about understanding.
You can do that. That's doable, but people don't have to do it. I don't tell people now go work as a couple because sometimes it's not realistic. Just that for us, that is what works for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very nice. Asante, utatuexplainia Fuliza culture tukifunga. But Joram, mbona ulienda kufungua showroom mahali next kuna gari ya? By the showroom ya Joram iko Kaman Autos, AAR Hospital ukiteremka tu kidogo Kaman Autos. I can recommend good experience. Kitoka hapo pita kidogo junction ile ya Kiambu Road. Hii yote ni Kiambu Road. Junction Kiambu Road, teremka kidogo tu utaona Urban Drive towards Kiambu on your left. Yako iko on your right from AAR. Yes. By the way, I can say my experience has been the best and I can highly recommend. But mbona umefungua showroom na mmeshikana na showroom mingine? Hii confidence inatoka wapi? Ama ulisikia huyu anauza sana?
No, you know, if you want to sell even shoes,
yes,
don't go to open where there are no other shops selling shoes. Because somebody has to make a conscious decision that they want to buy.
Yes.
So they will be shopping. And if they are shopping, they need to move from, how do you compare if you have to travel 5 kilometers away to compare with the next shop? So even when I came and saw the space is empty, I said, this is the place I want to be.
You decided?
Yes. And again, it's you who now decide what is your value proposition that you want the customers to know you for. Do you want to be known for quality or do you want to be known for price? And for us, we chose the price proposition.
Okay.
So that if we are in the next showroom, then you can come and we can do a price that is affordable for you. And that has, you know, kept us moving.
Okay.
Because you have to decide what works for you in the midst of the competition.
So kazi ni kaende, hakuna cha usiogope.
Yes.
Kuanzisha biashara next.
Even if there is a space next to us, open.
Yes.
Because again, when people see, oh, there are showrooms here, they stop. They may stop at yours and not the neighbors. And they may come and strike a deal at yours.
Yes. Okay. Ulinifanyia poa sana na pia Jesse na mwitanga bossman. Tumewalk naye jani ya magari sana. Saa ingine nampelekanga sana kama there's a time he held a car for me, Nissan Elgrand for 2 months. Akaforgo like onward. By the way, sikumpea do. Nilimwambia I have business I'm looking for, but from the relationship we've had, from the banning nilikuwa nimeban kwa biashara nyingine, nishikie gari for 2 months ningoje kama watanipea contract. After the 2 months ilisha, lucky he gave me a chance. Sikuban tena. Nikamwambia imekataa. Sold the car on principle. Tupeleke kwa Fuliza culture. Fuliza culture, not the product, but the idea ya short-term lending. You can't. You just borrow to survive. You borrow to survive.
There are 2 types of debt. One is business debt and the other one is personal. Business debt is very easy because what you should be checking when you're borrowing is credit has a cost. I think that is something Kenyans need to get in their heads. Credit, if you use money today, and you know when you use money that you have not earned, then you pay for it. That is the cost of credit.
Yes.
It's what people call interest rates. You know. Now for business it's easier because you'll be looking at I'm borrowing this money at 20%, and my business is able to give me 30%. Okay, so is this that's a projection. Remember, it can work or fail. But for business it's easy because that's you can expense that cost every month and say these premiums I'm paying is part of my expenses. So that's easy to deal with. But of course, remember the cost of debt versus the return on income, return on investment. Where you put it, I have borrowed 1 million. Where I'll put it, will I get something over and above the cost it will cost me to have this credit? That is easy to deal with. Now the freezer comes with the personal debt, where you're perpetually borrowing. And most of the time, what I've discovered, people who perpetually borrow, and those loans are very expensive, only that they don't internalize. They don't borrow to buy food. If it's about buying food, you're going to sleep hungry, I totally understand. But when you're borrowing to keep up with a certain lifestyle, to be seen in Dubai, you to post photos on Instagram, you know, to buy maybe even cars. We sell cars and we love selling them. But you find someone just borrowing to keep up with the journeys. You know, you borrow to pay another loan. Very, very dangerous, especially personal debt. You see a nice shoe, I love shoes, and you don't have money and you have to borrow. Nowadays, we have the mobile loans. Very fast, you borrow, and tomorrow or after a week, that money is needed. You borrow again too. Very, very dangerous. It can put you in a very, very deep hole, which is not worth it. And that is where many Kenyans are. And it's very, very unfortunate. And we need to get out of that culture as soon as possible. Only borrow if, like I said, you're employed, your employer has an agreement, and that money must help you. And I want to go back to what Joram said about building your own home. People like saying, is it an asset, is it a liability? What I ask you people is, you eat every day. Is food a liability or an asset? I mean, from the Maslow hierarchy, food, if those things are basic, a house, you know, food, clothes, they are basic. The clothes we wear, what are they? They don't have a definition. You can't say it's an asset. You can't walk naked because you don't want to spend money on clothes. You can't go without eating and you have money because you don't want to spend on a liability. So this liability asset thing, that discussion is sometimes really put off of the main topic. Build your own house, buy whatever you have to say. Just know this is like food. You have to eat breakfast, lunch, or whatever. And that money, it will never come back. Assume when you spend money on your house, that is that kind of an expense, that you'll have a lot of peace. Only that this one now will save you from paying rent, for example. So yeah. So
the amount of money you're willing to put on a house is the amount of money you're willing to pay for peace. That's how much peace will cost.
And for us who are in business, Joram will tell you, like personally, when I wanted to leave employment, what I told Jesse is, the day we enter our house, I'll quit. I'll be able to quit because you know you have somewhere to sleep. You know, it's such a big, it may look small for people saying it's a liability. It's easy to talk like that. But when you have the comfort of going home to your house, and now you're trying to hustle here, trying to make it in business. Remember, business, like we said, very few survive. You can actually burn all your money. You can go for 3 years without making anything. But remember, you have somewhere to sleep, and maybe your husband or your wife or someone is hata umepanda skuma hapo nje uko na chakula. That alone gives you so much peace. You're able now to go out there and hustle properly. Yes.
Sawa sawa.
Maybe on the freezer culture, I can just mention. My previous employment was in lending, financial services. The highest borrowing would happen on which holiday? Not Christmas, not Easter, not a holiday actually, on Valentine. Yes. We had a loan we used to call Okoa. So Okoa was on phone, so you just needed to get to your phone and borrow. The highest borrowing on a single day would be on Valentine. So is that for business?
I need to, you lazima nifuate tena.
Yes. So you see, people are borrowing, and what happens the next month? The cycle continues. On the 14th, the 13th, the 15th, borrowing goes up. Are they borrowing to spend? I mean, are they borrowing to use on something? They are borrowing so that they can continue maintaining that lifestyle.
Yes. Hey, wow, that's
and it's something insight. That my take would be people need to get out of. Because the interest you pay is so high, yet you do not make anything with that money.
Okay. Asante sana, asanteni sana for sparing your time to come share your knowledge with us on behalf of our audience, that is. But then, before we let you go, kuna kitu nyinyi wote mmesema, cash is king. And cash is king, and this is in a different context. Purity na Jesse walinisaidia kuuza gari yenye during COVID. Ilikuwa gari we sold it after 11 months. And I was faced with a decision. We were selling that car for $500,000. Was it $500,000? 600,000 less than we had bought it 11 months before. Right? We had someone who had committed to buying the car at 200,000 more than someone who walked in on Sunday, who later turned out to be my friend, Dr. Stanley Aruyaru. Nilipata yeye ndio alibuy gari, hiyo gari yenye tulikuwa tunauza. So Dr. Stanley came akabuy the car, but the offer at that time under those circumstances was 600,000 less. But then there was someone when alikuwa anaenda through financing, alikuwa analeta 200,000 more. And at that time urban driver akaniambia, you need to choose. Kuna mtu wako na process ya financing na iko na 200,000 more.
Yes.
But kuna mtu wako na cash yenye ni 600,000 less than what we bought the car 6 months before. Nikaambiwa, choose very wisely. Because huyu akitoka hapa, anything can happen with financing. Right? Hiyo pia ni element ingine ya cash is king.
Yes.
You are faced with the decisions za mtu wako na pesa. Ndiye anapewa priority, cash.
You know, if somebody came to the showroom and my salesman maybe calls me and says, this guy is coming to the office, this is the offer. The question I ask, is it cash? So if it's cash, then I will not leave the money. I am willing to go down. I'm willing to go down because money today is not the same as money tomorrow that will be processed by a bank that possibly says, this guy is on CLB. So he has to clear. But you see, if you get the cash today, you do a lot with it. And you redeem, possibly you are paying an interest expense. You redeem it today. You have saved.
So the best value of money is in the present.
Yes.
Hata kama it's less $1 million tomorrow.
Yes. Because you are able to invest it when it is still very liquid.
Liquidity.
And maybe Purity can tell you, there are people we have, you know, you learn over time. There are cars you have kept for somebody, and maybe they don't even have a deposit because they are going through bank finance. So a cash guy comes and you say, no, because this offer is maybe 100,000 more, it's taking more time.
Yes.
But then you learn over time that you'd rather take the rest 100,000 cash today than wait for that process that has no deposit.
Wow. Biashara ni process. You cannot learn in a day.
Yes.
Asanteni sana. And in our last conversation, one of our shows, tulikuwa na my first money teacher actually, Gor Semelango. Na Gor, ndiye aliniingiza kwa reading culture. I got Purity's book. Very, very good work on this ones, by the way. This one is an easy read. Vile uliniambia, haraka haraka, liquid ways to invest your money in Kenya. Easy. Quick one, 2 hours umemaliza. Na the knowledge hapa ni immense. Asante sana for the good work. Na tuko na 70 realities and rules of running a successful business. Very, very proper tips. Wase waanze kusoma hizi vitu. These ones you can get from Nuria, Nuria shop. I can highly recommend. Iko na tips na pia personal experiences za kulearn kwa biashara. We brought Purity na Joram on the show. Ideally, najua Purity through Jesse. Jesse ndio namjua Urban Drive. He sold me, nimesema safari yetu ilianza 2019. Sasa hapo kuja kumit, Jesse akatoroka kamera, but na learn you are an author kwa one of my favorite topics, how money works.
Yeah.
Na pia you are a trainer wa finance. So Purity Kimotho on Facebook, tafadhali check her up, but hizi vitabu mbili unazipata Nuria. It's way more value than what you will pay for it. Nuria stores wanauza all local authors, the best plug wa vitabu in Kenya. Joram anaran Kaman Auto. Kaman Auto iko on Kiambu Road. Ukipita tu AAR kidogo, the new AAR hospital. Hapo before hiyo kitu inakaa kama bridge, on your right kuna Kaman Autos. Ukipanda ukienda Kiambu Road pale kwa junction, mahali kuna hiyo inaitwa Four Ways Junction, si ndio? Pita mbele kidogo towards Kiambu Road, kuna towards Kiambu, on your left, Urban Rail, a very big showroom. I think one of these fine days tutapin Jesse kuja kamera tupatie story ya Toyota 100. Otherwise, asanteni sana.
Thank you.
Thank you. Asante sana for sticking with us up to this point. I hope you enjoyed our content. I trust it was time well wasted. Please consider joining us by subscribing to our channel by hitting the subscribe and turning on the notifications bell. We have a lot of good vibes uploaded on the channel. We have so much more coming through. I'm Dr. Kingori. See you on the next one.